The Visitation. We stood alone, none to so much as grieve with us our despair. We, yielding barrenness, languish despite our vast progeny, finding among them no guide. We who, in bleak and mutual estrangement, have been made to drink of the bowl of staggering, snared antelopes, hooves and antlers, chafing, pressing, repelling, cutting into the calloused, netted bodies of the herd. To us you hastened your steps, from Galilee to Judea, enacted prophecy of messianic journeying, like the migratory patterns of birds, worn in over eons, one generation to the next, just as your arising in departure, anistemi, was a prelude to resurrection itself, definitive return, and the breaking through into a new sphere of existence. For us you hastened to the hills, arrayed in gold of Ophir and the accoutrements of poverty. And where, if not to the summits, would be fitting for you to ascend? How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of her bearing the gospel in all of its Christological and overflowing fullness. Before we beheld the face of God in your child, we felt his closeness in the zeal of your active charity. In your kinswoman's greeting, the old dispensation met the new, justice and peace embraced in the persons of their mothers. And so did the tiny Baptist exult, the lame leaping up to manifest Israel's long-awaited. That voice to rend the wilderness in the spirit and power of Elijah, the first on earth to proclaim the Lamb, exerting so irresistible a magnetic splendor as to draw tyrants down to dungeons to bear their own reproach, was trained in beauty at your singing of salvation's history, as miraculous sanctification fell upon your hearers. Yours was no false mysticism of enclosed and self-important bliss, as the world, the flesh, and the dreamers might imagine. Your royal dignity and the very caliber of our misery demand a higher grace, plying the distaff, laboring, watching, pondering, and, as you now do still, grieving the sufferings of the crucified poor, the creatures of this world laid waste by human power. In you, the summit, by which contemplation and action are perfectly co-informing, was a mysticism of service, of mission, already full of God. And more than every act of service in its most concrete and humble detail, you brought joy. To Zechariah was foretold the birth of his son would bring joy. Joy as fire, as gentleness and peace, but no less vehement for that. Joy as the outpouring of the living flame of love. Joy communicating itself through witness and proclamation, and suffering and martyrdom. And so do we the sinful praise the breath of the Spirit that impels Mary, and with her the Church, to take to the highways of the world, to bring Christ, the hope of humanity, to everyone.